Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope you've had a lovely day. It's been a glorious day today, really warm, so I hope you've been out and about in the sunshine. And Nana has. And yeah, she's been working hard too, so that's good. So I thought I'd continue on this theme of the Winnie the Pooh books because I know you like them. And yeah, there's a few to go yet, so and there is some stories with Eeyore in there. I'm not sure the next one's got Eeyore in, but saying that, it's called The Sleepover. So I thought that was really appropriate because I know that Atty, you've had a sleepover with Ruby, haven't you? So let's see if it was anything like this. So if you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. The Sleepover. Comfortable, Piglet? Pooh asked. He was tucking his friend into a dresser drawer. They had been made into a bed, just the right size for Piglet. Oh yes, Pooh, thank you ever so much, Piglet replied. The two friends were having a best friend sleepover, which, as far as they could tell, had to involve sleeping over something. They do take it rather literally, don't they? Can you see him in his drawer? How cute is that? I suppose you could say that I'm sleeping over the other dresser drawer, said Piglet. Pooh nodded. He looked around his house. Now I wonder what I could sleep over. Piglet looked around too, but there seemed to be just one place that was well suited for Pooh, his own bed. So in the end, that's what Pooh decided to sleep over. Well, good night, Piglet, said Pooh. He blew out the candle and climbed into bed. Good night, Pooh Bear, Piglet replied. Piglet lay in the darkness of Pooh's room, comfortable in his drawer. What a wonderful best friend sleepover it has been so far, he thought. First, Piglet and Pooh had enjoyed a before bedtime snack. Next, they'd put on their pyjamas. Then, they'd made up a bedtime story together. Of course, it was always fun spending time with Pooh, although there was something about being at Pooh's house at bedtime that was so different from being at Piglet's own house at bedtime. He lay there in the dresser drawer and with his eyes wide open. It occurred to Piglet that the darkness at Pooh's house was much darker than it was at his own house. So Piglet rolled over and pulled up the covers. Then he closed his eyes tight and tried to fall asleep. But nothing happened. You see him in his drawer. Piglet opened one eye and peeked out into the darkness. That's when he noticed that it was very quiet in Pooh's room. Much quieter than the one in Piglet's own room at night. In particular, the quiet that was coming from the direction of Pooh's bed, where Piglet's best friend was fast asleep, while Piglet lay wide awake. What was the quietest quiet of all? Pooh, whispered Piglet. Pooh Bear, he called. A little louder this time. He didn't want to wake up Pooh. Then Piglet wondered if perhaps Pooh was awake and had just not heard him. Still, there was no answer. Piglet tried his best to fall asleep. See him sitting there? Looks a bit worried, doesn't he? Then he heard a soft, low rumbling. It was curiously similar to the sound of a sleeping bear snoring. As Piglet listened, the sound grew louder and louder, and then softer and softer, and then louder and louder, over and over again. Was it the sound of an approaching heffalump? Piglet wondered. The sound continued. Look at that. It's a big elephant. Pooh, oh dear, Piglet shouted, jumping out of the drawer and running to Pooh's bedside. He shook Pooh as he shouted, wake up, oh please, Pooh. Pooh said drowsily, sitting up. He climbed out of bed and walked over to light the candle. When it was lit, he found Piglet hiding under the covers of Pooh's bed. Why, Piglet, said Pooh, what's the matter? Piglet was trembling so much It was hard to get the words out. "It's that horrible noise, Pooh," he stammered. Piglet listened for the noise so he could point it out, then realised he couldn't hear it. "That's funny," said Piglet as he peeked out from under the covers. "The noise stopped as soon as I woke you up, Pooh." Said Pooh. He shrugged. Then he yawned. "I guess that means we can go back to sleep." Piglet wasn't so sure. He didn't want to hurt Pooh's feelings, but he didn't think he could fall asleep in Pooh's room. "Pooh Bear," Piglet said timidly, I don't mean to be a bad best friends, but do you think we might, well, have the rest of our best friends sleep over some other night? I'm just not used to sleeping anywhere but in my own house." Poor little Piglet. Pooh sat down on the bed and put his arm around Piglet. "I understand, Piglet," he said. "We have the rest of our best friends sleep over whenever you like." Pooh helped Piglet gather his things, including his very own pillow. Then, hand in hand, Pooh and Piglet began to walk through the 100-acre wood. It was a short stroll through the forest to Piglet's house. The stars were still twinkling in the night sky, and the two best friends arrived. "Here you are, Piglet," Pooh said as they entered. "Home, sweet home." There we go. You can see him walking back now. I love Pooh's nightshirt and his nightcap. Piglet was very glad to be in his own house. "Oh, thank you, Pooh," he said. "Thank you so much for understanding and walking me back. I suppose you'll need to get home to bed now." Pooh considered the question. "That does sound like a good thing to do," he said, "but first I might sit down for a little rest." Pooh noticed a comfortable-looking chair. Just for a few minutes, of course. While Piglet put away his things, Pooh sat down in the chair. It was even more comfortable than it looked. Pooh put his feet up, and then he decided to rest his eyes just for a moment. By the time Piglet came back, Pooh was fast asleep. He was even making a soft, low rumbling sound. But in the comfort of his own house, it did not strike Piglet as anything other than the sound of one sleeping bear snoring. Piglet covered his best friend with a small blanket and slipped a pillow under his head. "Sweet dreams, Pooh Bear," he whispered. Then Piglet climbed into his own bed and drifted off to sleep. It seemed that he and Pooh were having their best friend sleepover after all. Aww, and there's Piglet fast asleep in his bed. Oh, that was nice, wasn't it? So sometimes it's, I don't know, it just feels a bit odd if you're sleeping in somebody else's house. So I wonder how it felt to you, Atty, when you slept with Ruby. I know you were chatting most of the night. It's always good to be in your own bed though, isn't it? So it's time to go to sleep now. I hope you enjoyed that story. And we'll have another one tomorrow. I think we'll continue with the Winnie the Pooh books because I like to know what's going on. And you never know, Eeyore might be in it next time. So I hope you have a really, really, really good sleep. Sweet dreams. And think of all those people that you'd like to have a sleepover with. So that would be good, wouldn't it? And not to sleep in drawers, though. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you probably fit. Anyway, I love you loads. So night-night Atty, night-night Torben, night-night Ruby, night-night Max. I love you so much. Grandad sends his love too, and big hugs. So from Grandad, big hugs to Ruby and Max, and big hugs to Atty and Torben. So sleep well, love you loads, and be good. See you soon. Mwah. Love you. Bye.